Welcome to the Worshipped Woman podcast. I am your host, kellykristin. I am a life and relationship coach, deep healing facilitator, and subconscious change expert. On this podcast, we will dive deep into personal growth, transformation, and relationships, releasing patterns of toxicity, codependency, and people-pleasing as we explore what it means to be the worshipped woman. If you are ready to heal, embody your worth, and raise your standards in life and love, you are in the right place. I am so happy to have you here. Now, let's get started. Hello, sisters. Welcome back to the podcast. Kelly here, and I'm so excited that you are hanging out with me today. And I'm really excited about today's topic because I feel that it will bring a lot of clarity and understanding. And when we have a new level of understanding and awareness, we get to make new choices. And with new choices can become a whole new life, right? Like that's really what it's about. It's about learning, growing, and making new choices in your life. And that's how you change just about anything that you want to. And isn't that such a beautiful part about life? Isn't that such a beautiful thing that we have the ability to get a new understanding of something, to get a new level of awareness and actually change our minds and how we react and how we behave? Isn't that an amazing thing that we even get to do that? I mean, really, wow. Sometimes you just really do have to marvel at humanity and how truly awesome it is just to be a human, to be alive, to get to experience the life, to get to live life as we are right now. I really think that every single one of you listening to this, every single person on the planet is here for a reason because your soul chose to be here during this time. You have a unique purpose. You have a unique need to be here. You are wanted. You are needed. You are unique. You are special. You are all of the things. And what I really want to talk about today is your inner child and how that relates to relationships, because I know I have certainly posted things before. I'm certain that you have read things before that say something along the lines of, if you don't work on your inner child wounds or heal your inner child wounds, they're going to show up in your relationships. And this is truly where our inner child is going to show up in our most intimate relationships. So I want to talk about why that is, why that's so important, and hopefully bring you a new level of awareness and understanding so that maybe you can possibly make some new choices again, because that is what it is all about. So I want to kind of clarify what your inner child is, because I think sometimes it can almost seem like, it's like talked about a lot, right? Like, any psychologist, any therapist, lots of coaches, people are talking about inner child this, inner child that, inner child healing, blah, 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 blah. And, a lot of people can be skeptical, made up a new word for you. A lot of people can be skeptical. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. And because, it's like, okay, what do you mean, like this inner child? Like, what does that even really mean? And there is a inner child in all of us always. It doesn't go away. It's a part we can access. And I scientifically want to tell you why. Okay. Scientifically, all your inner child is neural pathways that were formed in your body, in your brain before the age of 10 years old, right? They're like deep in your subconscious. They're habitual patterns in your nervous system. That is your inner child. And, as children, we do not have the ability to discern certain things or to think in a logical way. We don't have the ability to see beyond the situation that we are in. We don't have context. We don't have just even the brain. Our brains work differently once we become adults and have a different perspective on things. And when you're a child, things happen and you develop beliefs around those things that have happened. You make it mean something around those things that have happened. And so we form our core identity, our core belief systems, how we see the world, how we view the world, how we see ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. We form that in childhood. And so this part of you is still with you now, no matter how old you are, right? And that makes sense. Like these beliefs were formed, they're in your subconscious. It actually has to do with like neural wiring, connections, emotions that get connected through your nervous system that were happening. I mean, there's a lot of things that just scientifically make sense here. So I hope that you're like starting to really just understand the concept. Oh, okay, it's like not that really big of a deal. It's just that's how our brains work. That's how our bodies work. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. Okay, so you know that you have the inner child. You're accepting, okay, yes, I have this part of me. And I really want you to understand that there is that aspect of you, those neural connections are there. They're wired into your brain and your body. And these beliefs about yourself, the wounds that have been formed in childhood, usually there's a lot of wounding around feeling like you're not enough, not mattering, feeling like, that you're not lovable, that you're not wanted, a lot of different things that are like core wounds of childhood that a lot of us carry. And it doesn't mean that you had to have some like crazy bad childhood to have picked up those beliefs. It just can happen in, something happened and you being a 5-year-old decided, oh, mom yelled at me for this thing. I'm not lovable. I'm not wanted, right? Or maybe your parents got divorced and you picked up that belief. I'm not lovable. I'm not wanted. My dad left. He abandoned us, right? And so we have this wounding that kind of gets lodged in there because adult level stuff happens and our child brain can't think about it in any other way besides making it mean whatever we decided it to mean when we were a child. This is just what happens, okay? And everybody, I don't care who you are, is going to come out of childhood with some beliefs that don't really serve you in adulthood. This is just how it is. Even if you had like the most perfect upbringing ever and your parents were together and all of these things, it's just that there is no perfect parents. There's no, they can only do the best that they can. And the other stuff is like karma. We have our own stuff to work through. Our souls came here to work through different things and to learn different things and all of the stuff. So it's not like anything has to be wrong or bad. It's just that this is what it is. And this is what our humans are here to go through. So anyway, this is important because we get wounded relationally and we also look to heal relationally. And this is why our inner child wounds show up in our romantic partnerships, because we most likely were wounded from our earliest relationships with our caregivers. So now as adults, our inner child is still looking to heal. And this is why it is such an important part, because if you are walking around with a wound, let's say, you come from a divorced family or you came from a family where you were raised with a single parent or something like that, well, maybe you are walking around the wound of being abandoned, and that wound oftentimes feels like being unwanted, being unloved, feeling like you don't matter, right? That's what that is oftentimes associated with. Well, your inner child, if you haven't worked on this, if you haven't found out a way to feel good enough to reinforce your inner child that, hey, you know what, you do matter. If you haven't really rewired those beliefs of being unlovable, unwanted, not just in your mind, but in your nervous system as well, then you're going to seek out relationships that actually reinforce that belief to you. This is actually how your brain is like keeping you safe, right? Because it's predictable. That's what it is. So your brain is keeping you safe by doing this. And it's actually a way that your inner child is looking to heal because of these unresolved issues. We can also call this unresolved trauma, right? Those things, the reason why that we hold on to those beliefs is because we had a heightened emotional response to it. And that's why we have a heightened emotional response and we create the belief, the memory, whatever it is, that is unresolved trauma. That trauma is what carries on with us. Well, guess what? We want to work that trauma out. Your inner child wants to work that trauma out. So this is where, if you haven't worked it out yet, you're going to work it out in your relationships. So guess what? If you're walking around with the wound of feeling, unwanted, not lovable, not good enough, well, you are probably going to seek partners that make you feel not lovable, not good enough, unwanted, whatever the story is there. And here is the kicker. When we have this not resolved, we are going to be attracted to them. And this is how we can form trauma bonds with people, because our inner child wants to work this out. Our inner child wants to say, wait, I know that you feel this way, because we're really looking at mom or dad, whoever. I know you feel this way. I know you're treating me like I'm not good enough, but I really, really, really want you to change your mind here. I really, really, really want you to want me. I want you to love me. I want you to accept me, whatever it is, whatever our inner child needs, right? And by working it out with somebody, if our inner child is like, if I can get this person who acts like mom or dad that didn't want me, didn't love me, whatever the story is, if they act like them, but I can get them to change their mind and I can prove to them that I'm worthy and they could change their mind and then they could want me, then guess what? I'll be healed. And this is why we stay in relationships or really want people that hit up on our old wounds, because it's not you. It's not like you as an adult that's like, oh yeah, I really want to be with this person who makes me feel badly. I really want to be with this person that makes me feel like I'm not wanted or I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough. I really want to be with them. No, that's not the case, right? This is why oftentimes toxic relationships, logically, they don't make sense. You're like, why am I in this relationship? Why am I even wanting to be with this person? That's the trauma bond. That's your inner child. It's not you, it's your inner child, right? Which is an aspect of you, but it's certainly not the adult version of you. It's an aspect of you that's trying to heal, that wants to heal. And so here's the thing. You have a couple options. You can continue to be in those relationships where you're trying really hard to prove your worth, where you're trying really hard to heal through somebody else, or you can start doing the healing work on yourself. And when you have those impulses of maybe wanting to be with somebody, and side note, this is also why if you are currently in a trauma bond and toxic relationship, this is why you have to do inner child healing. It is imperative to breaking trauma bonds that you do inner child healing. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to perpetuate the cycle, or, the next person's going to come along and it's going to be the same thing with a different face. This is why. The secret, the answer, the thing that needs to happen is deep inner child healing, is switching those beliefs, is rewiring your mind, rewiring your nervous system, rewiring your self-empowerment to let go of this old stuff and to really become a more empowered person that is choosing your life and the people that you want to be with intentionally, versus letting your old inner wounded child run the show here. But you have to start with really becoming conscious to this, right? Becoming conscious to the patterning. And then what is it that the need is underneath that, right? You have to start meeting the needs of your own inner child rather than looking for other people to meet those needs for you, because you're looking in all the wrong places. And so this is where it's really going to take a conscious effort for you to soothe the wounds, to heal your inner child. You have to really do some bit of what a lot of psychologists will call reparenting, where you are the one that's making yourself feel like you matter to yourself, making yourself feel good enough, making yourself feel wanted, right? You can actually start a dialogue with your inner child. You can actually be in a place where you are giving that love and whatever it is that you need to yourself. That is healing. That is healing. And then if you can start that process and get out of the toxic scenarios, get out of the toxic cycles, and maybe you still don't feel 100% great all of the time. There's no magic pill that's going to make you feel 100% worthy all the time, 100% lovable all the time, 100%. We're not going to just one day erase all of these wounds like they were never there. Even when we do new work, even when we wire in new neural pathways, you still have the ability to choose the old way. It's not like it goes away. You have to practice choosing the new way. You have to practice choosing the new story. You have to practice choosing and stepping into the embodiment of the new belief. Nobody can do that for you. But the more you step into the embodiment of the new belief, well, guess what? your life is going to then start to reflect that. And here's the thing. Your inner child's always going to be present in your relationships. I mean, have you ever noticed, like, when you get into a relationship with somebody and you start to feel comfortable with them, you are all of a sudden talking baby talk. You're like, oh, so cute. And like, if you're in that, you can even both, like man, woman, I don't care what it is, who you are, you're going to start, talking in the baby talk and being all cutesy and all of these things. Why do you think we do that? Really? Because our inner child wants to heal. They want to play. And the thing is every relationship that you are in, intimate friendship, like they are either helping you to heal and feel accepted and loved, or they are helping you to reinforce old wounding. And so with everything I've said and with that last little part there, I really want you to think about your intimate relationship that you might currently be in, or maybe one that you just left, and ask yourself, is this relationship helping me to heal, helping me to accept more of myself, helping me to feel more loved, helping me to feel better, helping me to feel like I can be more of myself? Or is this relationship making me feel like I am not good enough and I need to do something else to be? Is this relationship making me feel like confused, like they don't really want me, and I got to work really, really, really hard to try to make them change their mind? Is this relationship making me feel better most of the time, or is it making me feel worse most of the time? And if the answer is it's making me feel worse, if the answer is it's making me feel like I got to prove my worth, if the answer is, yeah, I feel not validated, any of those things, well, the thing is that you've got to work on yourself, right? And you've got to take the time to nurture your inner child, to care for your inner child, and to feel loved, wanted, and accepted on your own first. And it doesn't have to be 100% like before you're going to find a good relationship. That's not what it's about. Because again, the good relationships, the relationships that we're really meant to be in, are going to help us to further heal that, right? One of the most beautiful things that does happen when you're in healthy relationships versus a toxic one or a not so healthy one is that when you do maybe come from a place where you're starting to go into an old story of not being wanted or not being good enough, well, you get told the opposite and you feel the opposite. You tell them something, or you open up to them in some way and you tell them what's going on. And instead of reinforcing that belief for you, they go, what are you talking about? Right? Instead of doing actions that continue to make you question and continue to make you feel not worthy, not good enough, all the things, they do actions that make you feel like, yeah, this is good. I'm lovable. Life is good. Right? And you deserve that. Everybody does. You deserve to be loved, accepted, nourished, cherished, exactly as you are. And you got to start with yourself. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, you know what? I think my inner child might need some love. Well, you can literally ask your inner child. You can literally tune into this aspect of yourself and say, what is it that you need, right? With intention. You can intentionally get into closing your eyes and just being at peace in the moment. Intentionally tap into your inner child and just ask her what it is that she needs. Ask her how she needs to be cared for. And I'm also I think I have an inner child meditation on YouTube that I will also link in the show notes of this. And that may be something that you might find helpful to do as well, because it actually talks you through different stages of your inner child and really embracing and loving yourself in a bunch of different capacities. So if this was speaking to you, I think you should absolutely check that out. And of course, if you want to do some deeper work with me, this is the kind of work that I'm doing with my clients. This is the kind of work that I'm doing in my group program. So you can always send me a message on Instagram. I am at kellykristin, so Miss Kelly Kristen. And if you loved the show today and you want to share it with another sister that you think could benefit from it, I would be so grateful to you. If you want to share it on Instagram, please take a screenshot, tag me, tag the @worshippedwoman account. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon.